Welcome into another edition of the Complete Angler. He's JC Brooks, 2018 Angler of the Year, and AKA the Bluegill Assassin. I am merely Joseph Long. So today we are going to talk about
Oh, that worked out better than I
this
thought.
kid who became this guy who became the Bluegill Assassin. So, first question. Is the bluegill the first fish you ever caught? Do you remember?
No, it wasn't.
Bass was?
Bass was. It was the first time you took me fishing. Actually, whenever I couldn't have been probably 6 or something like that, maybe younger than that even.
When I bought you a tackle box and everything?
I think it was before that. It was just a bobber and a worm, and my mom was sitting out there. It was like 90-degree day, and she just sitting out there in the lawn. And
I remember that.
Yeah. And that's whenever you were catching fish left and right, and I was catching a fish here and there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd always get so excited, and fun times, very fun times.
Yeah. So, how many bluegills do you think you've caught? Since that's like your forte, that's your fish of focus. How many do you think you've caught? Hundreds?
In my lifetime, or in the last year?
Lifetime.
I honestly have no idea. I know I caught like 20 thumb or so last year. I know I did. The year before that, I caught
more.
Probably more than that.
Yeah, because last year we didn't do.
We didn't do a lot, but it was raining all.
Yeah, it was bad weather and a lot of work conflict and school conflicts. And
I don't know. I know in the last 4 years, in the last 2 or 3 years, I know I've caught over 50 at least.
So this was 2 years ago.
That was my junior year of high school.
And that's, I think, one of the first times we went fishing again, to reestablish us fishing. And
that was actually, I was judging, there'd be around the morning-ish, actually, it looks like, because that would have been a weekend, so it would have been around morning, and... Or maybe it was late night. It was late day because of the shadow. It was somewhere because of the shadow. I remember it was pretty warm. You were wanting me to get a machete or whatever and whack down all the briars so you could get to the other side. I remember that. The one-man army. I'll never forget that day.
So I took my little cousin out, and I think we went to Pomida and bought you that set.
Or something like that.
And it was on sale, I think. I think it was a North Bend. I'm not sure. And he got pretty good with that one, but that was kind of a crummy reel. And then I got him going on the open face. Remember that?
Oh, the first couple of times were bad. Not the first couple of times I went fishing with it.
The first couple
casts were horrible.
Hey, Joe! And he just had a freaking...
I don't know how I managed to do it.
The line was there. I ended up putting my rod down and just.
Here's the funny thing: I was able to do that with a closed face too, and I still don't.
Yeah.
That was just natural.
You had a lot of bird's nest, but once you got going, you started catching a lot of fish, and then we had a pretty epic day out at Lake X, and we went early. The owner said, "Why don't you take some of the catfish out there?" So we went. We had hot dogs.
We were ready to catch some catfish. We weren't expecting to catch what we did.
No, we did not think when we left that day we were going to catch 4 personal best fish.
No,
and we did. So I was fishing for bass on one bay. He was fishing for bluegill on another bay, and I heard him. And JC doesn't get very excited. He's just kind of a...
When it comes to fishing, I'm just very mellowed out. It's whenever I catch one, I got it. Let's get it unhooked. If it's a good one, a really big one. If it was like your bass, it would have been on the dinner table that night. But I just look at it, see how good it is. If it's a personal best, he decides if he wants to weigh it or not, and it goes right back into the pond or lake.
Yeah, we always keep a scale and a
on to the next one
and a tape measure so we can measure the. And we don't normally keep our fish. We normally let them go. I did keep a bass because I was getting it mounted, but I won't keep any more fish. I'll just take measurements and weight. And
Unless it's like a big one.
Nope.
Unless it's like a state record one, you're gonna keep that one.
State record I keep, but anything else I want, I'll let it go back and get bigger and
Catch it again.
have babies and catch their babies and yeah. So we went fishing, and all of a sudden I heard him go, "Hey Joe!"
Hey Joe!
And it's like, what? And I go over, and he's got a bluegill, and it's bigger than my hand, and I'm like, whoa. I've been fishing for 30-some years, and
He's
I'm
old.
like, that is a big bluegill. And we measured it and weighed it, and then he caught another one, bigger. And then he caught another one, and it was like 0.81, I think.
0.82.
Okay.
0.81, 0.82. I know it's 0.8. It's closing in on a pound.
But he got 3 personal bests. And
In succession, it wasn't big one, small one, bigger one. It was big one, bigger, biggest.
And it was so impressive, I thought, I want to get on the action. So I re-rigged my rod, and I start fishing. He's still fishing that bay. I'm fishing just a little bit past him, and they shut down.
Mm-hmm. Because they realized, we're in trouble
The
here.
Bluegill Assassin's here, which is the name he got that day.
Mm-hmm.
And so then he kind of got bored because his fish weren't biting.
Fish weren't biting for me. We both weren't seeing any action
You were
at all.
texting your girlfriend.
Why not? There's nothing
You
better
were
to do.
playing music when you weren't doing that.
Hunting, fishing, loving every day.
And I go around the back bay, and I caught a giant. We're not going to talk about it, but you've seen it in other videos. We've been talking about it for a year. But he won the Angler of the Year.
The funnest thing I think me and you ever do whenever it comes to fishing is when we go to Dad's pond.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just like, all right, the part where we usually stand, that tree that's just to the left across the pond,
Mm-hmm.
who can get the closest to that?
Oh, yeah.
There's no other goal. I mean, if you catch a fish on the way back,
Great. If you don't, I was closer than him, or he was closer than me, and we got a victory, you know? Yeah, me and my grandpa used to do that. We'd be in a boat, and he'd say, "You see that stump?" And he was normally on the front of the boat. He'd cast. He'd be like a foot away, and I'd be like, "Man, I gotta put it right on it." Sometimes I'd even bounce it right off of it. But it's so much fun. Fishing is...
It can become let's just put it this way. Unless you're competitive, don't fish with us. Because it gets competitive. Very competitive.
Oh, yeah. We want to see who catches the most fish, the biggest fish.
And if he catches a bigger fish than me this year, I'm going to try to catch a bigger bass than you this year, than you did last year. And if you catch a bigger bluegill than I've ever caught, I'm going to push you in the pond and I'm leaving you.
I can swim.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. You're not my dad.
No. So, I fished with a lot of family, a lot of cousins. My grandpa, we used to fish every week, it seemed like. So, it's fun having a guy that'll go out and fish with you and hang out. And he's kind of like the little brother I never had, which, it's nice to have, someone to go fishing with.
It's nice to have someone to watch your back every once in a while. So
yeah. It's nice to have someone that's got a 4-wheel drive truck that can... and farms and ponds on farms that.
Yeah, it's nice to have someone that has water, something with fish in that water.
And
it's nice.
Got some nice fish.
Mm-hmm.
So, anything else you want to talk about? Bluegill Assassin.
Well, real quick, because I know we are actually getting up on time. I can't see the time on that screen, but no. I know we're getting up there for sure. He is definitely... This guy is called the Bass Assassin.
Look at that smile.
That guy is the Bass Assassin for a reason. He's very, very good at it.
Someone's pretty happy at that fish, you know that?
You just told me to smile, so I just gave you a BS smile.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yes.
Oh.
I was just like, can I just throw the fish back in the water now? Let me go fishing again. He's good at bass fishing. That's what he does. He knows almost every trick in the book to get a bass. And his dad is called the Worm King.
Yeah.
For a reason.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
very, very good with worms.
I don't have the patience. He will sit there and meticulously work that worm, and I'm like, I've got a crankbait or chatterbait, and I'm going zoom, zoom. Dad's just.
He's a fast mover. Your dad is more of the patience, and I'm the guy that'll just sit there with the bobber, or maybe you put up some type of jig or something to try to get a hold of bluegill, but every fish acts differently.
So if you tell JC he can't do something, he's going to find a way to do it. So this is my challenge for him for 2019. I want you to catch your personal best bass. I want you to catch a fish in the 4 to 5 pound range.
Okay, so 8 to 10. Got it.
All right.
So.
Anything else?
That's it.
Remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment, take kid fishing.
Wait.
Because I took this kid fishing.
Wait. When you subscribe, hit the little ding dong thing, because if you don't hit that, then you don't get the notification. Good thinking, YouTube. Now we're good.
Okay. See you on
the water,
the pond, the lake.
Anywhere where there's fish.
Anywhere there's fish. You'll see us there. Thanks, guys.